Hey guys, Jake here, and today I wanted to play a little bit of Shift 2 Unleashed and talk about it a little bit because I've been playing this game a bit lately. I didn't really expect to be doing this again, but I was kind of just trying out some different games I had on Steam because of a new monitor I got. I'll get to that talk later. But I just clicked on this to try it out, and I wasn't really expecting it to work all that well, but I found myself to be very, very surprised. So a little bit of an introduction. Shift 2 is a game that I haven't really liked all that much. I bought it originally on the 360 back in 2012, so a year after it came out. And I got it with the Time Savers DLC, which I did regret buying, but I regret buying the whole package. I just was not a fan of it back then. I already played most of Shift 1, and Shift 2 felt like a downgrade to me. It just felt like a downgrade physics, a downgrade presentation. I know it's got this interesting menu, and I have this one friend who really likes this specific menu and the music and stuff like that, and it is very well done and very unique. But for some reason, I just tend to find myself liking Shift 1's presentation more. This is very neat, but Shift 1's presentation, I just like more for some reason. I thought the background sounds were cooler than the dramatic music for some reason, but this is still good. But really the big kicker with Shift 2 with me was the physics. This game to me felt undrivable, and for many, many years I've sort of felt that way about it. But I just clicked on the game a few days ago on Steam. I have a new controller I'm using. I'm playing the PC version at 60 frames a second, and I'm actually starting to kind of like the game. So I actually want to go into a race, but I do want to talk while I drive, so probably not something too difficult. Retro probably isn't too quick, so I'll go and complete some more of the retro events. So originally I did buy this on the 360, now I'm obviously playing the PC version, which has been delisted, and I've been playing pretty much exclusively in this helmet cam, and you can see talking while driving does not benefit the best of results. Is this game difficult? In some ways, yeah, it really does feel difficult to actually get your car, stable and driving decently and staying on the track, which probably sounds pretty bad for a racing game, but hear me out. I'm sure many of you guys have seen that Sense of Speed video that went viral from YouTuber Mew. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it went viral. It got like 1 or 2 million views, I think. And my video, Sense of Speed in Racing Games, was actually mentioned there, and he actually mispronounced my name. Is it JakeMG? It's fine though. But my video was mentioned in there, and therefore I've actually seen a big uptick in views and comments on my video, actually, which is pretty neat. But one of the games I talked about was Shift 2, and what I find interesting is that in that video, I wasn't necessarily saying, oh, every game should be like Shift 2 in terms of Sense of Speed. Absolutely not. The Sense of Speed is something that makes this game unique. I wouldn't want the same thing to be to every game. I wouldn't want every game to feel like this. Because one of the things I did mention in that video is that it really does make the game more difficult to play. And I saw a comment on Reddit, or maybe it was YouTube, but I found it to be quite interesting in that it was saying that if racing games actually made the Sense of Speed accurate to how fast you were actually driving, it would be so much more difficult to play, and Shift 2 is a great example of that. Shift 2 can be kind of over-dramatic at points, but the general driving, even driving a slow car, just feels really fast. Mainly, I think, with the G-forces of the camera and braking, like that, your camera going back a little bit, just like that, stuff like that. If more games did that, more games would be harder to play, and I think it makes the game a bit less accessible, you know? Not just a bit, but probably a lot, honestly. I have not driven this track in ages. My ages, I mean, Shift 1, which I played several months ago. Tried to complete it on 360, but I did not end up finishing it. I have Shift 1 on Steam, but for some reason, nowadays, whenever I try to open the game, I see like the game logo in the progress bar for like a second, and it just doesn't go anywhere. I've tried Googling it 1,000 times, and I cannot find a fix. If anyone in the comments has a fix for that, that would be highly appreciated. But previously it was Shift 2 on PC, and I was about to get, I think, a somewhat decent lap, but of course I screwed myself up right there. But in regards to Shift 2 on PC, previously I've had not the greatest experience with it, with crashes, needing to install NVIDIA physics to get it to running at all. It forced me to run through Origin instead of Steam. Just a lot of problems, so I didn't expect it to really work at all. I just randomly started the game again a few days ago, and it's working perfectly fine and running very well. I'm not going to do a hot lap because that actually requires more focus than a standard race would, and I need to multitask right now in this video. So if this wants to use my FCRX7, I'm probably going to put some upgrades on it. Alright, now I'm topping out at the end of D class, and this RX-7 should be just fine. Let me actually put on a livery first, because this game has a lot of really nice presets to pick from. That honestly, I wish Forza and GT kind of took a word or two out of this game's book when it comes to preset liveries. One game that does do that well is actually Project Cars 3. I know Project Cars 3 gets a ton of flack, but it does some things pretty well, actually, in my opinion. But another thing I want to talk about when it comes to sense of speed is that when I made my video, I wasn't necessarily saying all games should play like this, but, I get a lot of comments saying that, oh yeah, that's right, all these games are like really boring. And I find it interesting how there's a lot of comments that interpret my videos as all about like an opinion, like my Horizon Direction Change video, right? For example, in that, I talked about how 1 and 2 were a bit more realistic, trying to be more grounded than 3, 4, and now 5. But in that video, a lot of people took it as my opinion. Yeah, Horizon should return to Horizon 1 and 2 style. That's right. But that's not what I was really saying either. I was saying that I think Horizon 1, some of its elements should be in the later games, I think. But that video wasn't even mostly about opinion. I mean, honestly, I think Horizon 3 is a far better game than Horizon 2. If anything, Horizon 2, I think, is like the black sheep worst game in the series. Even the Xbox One version. If you're interested in that topic, let me know. And man, it's actually a really tight track. I have not really driven this. Nitrous is just not going to work on here, is it? There's some kind of opportunity here. I can feel it. There we go. Nope. Rip. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, why aren't you using the third-person camera? It'd be easier to see around the corners. For some, I feel like the third-person camera kind of takes out half the feel of this game, honestly. And I don't know, the third-person camera in Shift is just kind of wonky to me, the way the position works and how it like sways. Just find it much nicer to drive in the cockpit or the helmet cam. Same case goes for Project Cars, but Project Cars for a different reason, because Project Cars is pretty much playable only on a wheel if you're talking about 1 and 2, and in the wheel you want cockpit view.
Too bad, man. You were just plain unlucky there.
Yeah, that's going to be a restart right there. What the? Okay. And that is your kind of disadvantage for being cockpit view. You just cannot see around you. But hey, it's more realistic, am I right? And note on this game's physics, I'm still noticing the steering delay, particularly because some of it is caused by the actual like physics settings themselves, and part of it's because the delay in like the steering animation for the driver. I know you can improve those things, but I haven't been able to find the file that you're supposed to disable the dampening in yet. And from what I've heard, there was also a fix to actually help the input delay in game, but the video that was up about that is gone. Okay. I'm so confused. It said this was a tour, right? So you can't play the second event before the first one, obviously. But the second event is a championship of 3 courses, while the first one is just 1 race. That's kind of odd. Why don't you just put them together? I don't know. But hey, Suzuka, I should be better at this one. I like how those tips on the loading screen now have become almost completely irrelevant. Even though I'm using a standard hard drive, the game loads pretty dang quickly. And you see, I think I'm better at Suzuka. So you know how I originally said I went back on this game to test it out on a new monitor I got? Yeah, that was quite the story. So last year you may know that I uploaded a video about a monitor I got. It was this Acer ultra-wide 34-inch 1440p 144Hz. Pretty nice monitor on paper, right? But the problem is that it was giving me some kind of headache, and I couldn't exactly figure out why. I thought it was this thing called PWM dimming. It was a way of controlling the brightness that would like cause like extremely fast flickering that you couldn't notice, but it could hurt some people's eyes. So I figured that's what it was. But apparently, because Rtings or Ratings.com didn't say any of that, my experience was wrong in the comments. But at the end of the day, I returned the monitor because it was giving me headaches, couldn't stand it. Brightness and colors weren't as good as my previous monitor, etc. This Black Friday, I picked up another monitor, which is a non-ultra-wide Asus 1440p 27-inch 144 hertz, can be overclocked to 170 hertz monitor. I get the monitor and I put it next to my old one, and my old one has much better brightness and colors and text readability, and it looks better while playing games, like playing games on 144 hertz. Amazing, right? But my computer is an all-purpose machine. My PC is an all-purpose machine. I'm playing Shift 2 here, but I also have to do my schoolwork. I also, edit videos whenever I end up actually editing one. Browsing the internet, doing some other stuff, all that. It's an all-purpose machine. It's not just for games, so I want a monitor that's good all around, and that's what my current monitor already is. It's only 60 Hz, but text is actually readable. When you put them side by side, it looked like with my old monitor, it looked like I was just looking at a piece of paper. It was really, really clear, really, really nice. The new monitor, by comparison, looked really faded. Gaming monitors, only focus on gaming and not much else, it seems. And it makes me wonder, am I getting something wrong with my monitors? Do other people not care about brightness and, text legibility and all that stuff as much as I do? Because, I see all these people have these monitors in their setups, and I'm like, how can you look at this for so long? It looks so bad. But is that just me comparing it to what I'm used to, or what? No laptops I've used, no TVs I've used, and no monitor, like my current monitor, has had that kind of issue. It's only the 2 gaming monitors I've had, and it's extremely strange. I'll link down to the monitors I've used down in the description, and maybe there'll be someone that knows more about monitors than I do that can tell me something. But it's just left me so confused. And no new car. I was hoping for something new. Got the bad mic I said earlier, and it is a drift car, but I can't seem to really drift with it all that much. Tokyo Dockyard. I'm glad this track was converted from Pro Street because you get it at day, night, all the times of day and stuff like that. And of course, with this track being in Shift, using 3D SimEd, it's way easier to export to Assetto Corsa than from Need for Speed Pro Street, which is really nice. If I'm wrong and it actually is easy to export from Pro Street, let me know. But this track feels good with these kind of cars in this game. And Assetto, honestly, it feels a little janky. There's some parts on this track that you can clearly tell it was designed for an arcade racer like this in Need for Speed Pro Street. This, for example. This turn in Assetto, for me, has never been good in Assetto, physics-wise. And obviously, I say it wasn't good in Assetto. It wasn't good right there. But that was more so because the AI crashed, more so, and then just crashed into me. Less so than me crashing into the wall. But, man, I don't know why. I'm just starting to like the way driving in this game feels now, even with the input delay. Maybe it's just the new Xbox Series controller I got. I got this recently for my birthday. That was a few weeks ago. And honestly, man, the Series controller, I know it doesn't look different from the one, but they improved the feel of it so much. And I don't know, maybe it's just making the game feel better. But it's that using the helmet cam, and I still crashed into a wall right there. And the 60 frames a second, that makes this game feel so much better to play. Some games I only really start to like and get into much later. Need for Speed Underground 2 being an example. When I was a kid, I enjoyed it, but when I was around 13 to 14 years old, some of y'all may know what happened. I'm going to do a rant video on why I hate Need for Speed Underground 2 and why I think it's the worst game ever made. It should just be called money because that's what it is, not bank. And the atmosphere of this game is ridiculous. But a couple years ago, I started to play the game again, just doing quick races, modifying some cars, and I started to realize, the game has aged very well in terms of graphics. In terms of car handling, it's one of the best in the series. And obviously the customization is very extensive. And I was replaying a lot of it on GameCube earlier this year. I regretted starting it on GameCube because the frame rate is so bad on that version. I'm talking specifically the GameCube version because it goes under 30 all the time. It's a consistent 25 FPS. And obviously I have no way to transfer that progress to PC or Xbox or anything. So, and that is a pretty consistent lead. I should be holding a W right here. And that was pretty good, if you ask me. I forget if this is the last race of this championship or not. I think there was 4 of them. I think this is actually the 3rd one. But I guess playing the game on 360 just makes it feel a lot less responsive than it does on here. Really, really changes the feel of the game. And with a game as such weird and particular physics as this game, I guess that really makes a difference. I was so confused by that clear sign. I thought it said Keem, and then I thought it said clean, but it's actually clears. One thing I do find interesting is that I've heard some talk about Shift 2, saying that it's actually a more accurate simulator than any racing sim is, because it focuses more on the emotion of driving rather than the physics. But I think the people saying that don't really understand the point that what full sims are trying to go for. I feel like a lot of people don't really understand sim racing. I saw a lot of comments in my arcade racing for sim racing video saying that, oh, arcade racing is a more exciting one, etc. But the thing is that I think most people saying that sim racing looks boring are people that have not tried sim racing before. Now, obviously right now I'm playing an arcade racer with a crazy helmet cam, but I find it an interesting topic because I've seen it brought up with Need for Speed Shift 2 before, and the comments come from pretty much, you know, people who have not played any sim racing games, but people who look at footage of them on YouTube and whatever, and see that to them they look boring. They don't look like they have a sense of speed, etc. But when you actually play a sim racing game with a wheel, you feel that, and there's really no need for a camera like this. But in a game like this, with a controller, it's really smart on delivering some of that emotion, but without any of the actual feedback. It's almost like a very miniature version of virtual reality.
We won. Good job, man. Nice drive.
And that is Japanese Retro League complete. I think I'm gonna sign off for this video, but I'm curious, what do you guys think of my Sense of Speed video and Mew's Sense of Speed video that just went viral? Do you think more games should be like Shift 2 Unleashed when it comes to Sense of Speed? Should every game really feel that fast, even though it may cause them to be harder and be less accessible? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later.